I hope this finds you doing awesome. So about a week ago, I posted a video about a girl named Abby and her destructive boyfriend, Zack. Well, my email blew up and I got some great questions, and there was, a lot of different scenarios in there. About 3/4 of them were girls, about 1/4 of them were guys. So this is looking like it might turn into a little bit of a series, which is super fun. And if you guys have any questions or scenarios that you want to toss in the basket, please do. I might be able to, do one video with several different scenarios and give you some advice. So anyway. What the dealio is today is we're going to call her Kaylee and her boyfriend Ben. So Kaylee writes in, and she's got an issue with her boyfriend that has turned into a huge problem in her mind. They both play collegiate sports. Sounds like they're super competitive, like really good. And Ben has turned this into a competition between him and Kaylee. So instead of showing up to her games to root her on and be her cheerleader, he often will point out all the things that she did wrong, and if his stats were better than hers, then he's got to rub it in her face, and if hers are better than his, then he pouts. How old are we? That sounds like something a 5-year-old would do. And when I read that, and then the next couple sentences about how Kaylee is asking, how do I make this better? How can I implore Ben to be my cheerleader and my fan? And that's a noble question. But the problem is you're dealing with a child. You're dealing with an immature and incredibly insecure guy who he just hasn't grown up yet. And that would be like asking me, how do I make my 5-year-old act like a 25-year-old? Well, you're not, right? So unfortunately, I have very similar advice for Kaylee because Ben is a really weak man. When a person is so insecure that they have to, cut people down to feel better about themselves. Usually girls do that to each other. I'm just saying. It's just the way it happens. So when you have that kind of competition within an intimate relationship, it is just destructive. And I'm going to tell you why. This is how it's going to work out later. And I can tell you this somewhat from personal experience and also from clients and friends over the years who have just confided in me and told me how this works out. Okay? So let's fast forward. Kaylee puts her head in the sand and pretends as if this isn't as big of a problem as it is. Even if she's talked to Ben about it, she hasn't gotten anywhere. And so she's just like, okay, I'm just going to let it go. And we're just going to proceed on with the relationship. Well, let's say they get married. Well, then it will turn into him criticizing. He's going to turn into a critic, because that's what he already is. Only it's going to be more pointed. So you don't clean well enough. You don't cook well enough. You don't parent well enough. And you don't make enough money. Or God forbid, if you make more than he does, it will destroy him because he will feel even more inferior. And it just can't work. You can't marry a 5-year-old, and that's how he's acting, and then expect him to be an adult. So this is a really hard thing for girls to grasp, is that we have to look at what reality is instead of living in fantasy, right? And the fantasy is looking at all the good things about Ben and wishing he could be the man you want him to be, Kaylee, instead of realizing that he's just not. And, Kaylee has been very expressive that she does love Ben. She does, want a future with him, but that this is destroying their relationship. And even though she's tried to talk to him about it, hasn't gotten anywhere. I'm sorry, Kaylee, but it's not going to get any better until Ben comes to that conclusion on his own. See, we have to be able to manage our half of our relationship with other people. And they have to do the same. Well, it sounds like you're trying to manage more of Ben's problem than Ben's trying to manage. Ben has to mow his own backyard, and so do you. If you had a problem that was hurting Ben, you're the one that's responsible for fixing it. And you're the one that's responsible for being able to look at it clearly and honestly. If Ben's not willing to do that, then you're just dead in the water. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't force him to change. You can't force him to become more secure. You can't force him to do anything. You know, we can't fix people. We just can't. What you're looking for in a boyfriend or a husband is the very best version of themselves and the very best of what you want. Don't settle. Don't settle. Take it from people like us who have and thought that it was going to work out okay. It never does. Okay? Don't settle. Break up with him. You know, I mean, do you really want that in your life? There are times where you can really work it out. There are times where you can have a conversation with somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I was doing that. Now, it doesn't sound like you have been as forthright with him as maybe Abby was, so you can try that. Definitely communicate. Try that. Tell him what you're not okay with and what you are okay with, and tell him you need to stop this. And then see if it really stops it from the inside of him, because you don't want to change what comes out of his mouth necessarily. You want to change how he thinks. Okay? It's how he thinks. And he's got some stuff going on that's not yours to fix. Okay? So, anyway, Kaylee, I hope that helps. And just like Abby, I would love it if you kept me in the loop and sent me an email and tell me how it went. Who knows? Ben might just go, oh my gosh, I am an idiot. Sorry, not gonna happen anymore. You never know. So anyway, I just love you all, and I'll see you next time.